Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I want to let you know that we are recording this session. So as you're coming in, if you don't want to be a part of that recording, it is totally fine to leave your camera off for our call today. And if you want to drop messages in the chat, we're happy to respond and we'll read them back out loud. You're also welcome. We will have some opportunities to ask and answer some questions when we get to that part of the presentation today. You're also welcome to come off of mute and ask questions as well. But for those that are not comfortable being a part of the recording, that is totally okay. We'll be posting this recording on the website for folks that are joining us later. So I'll go ahead and get us started. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sue Kane, and I have the opportunity to lead NCW Tech Alliance. I have two of my colleagues with me on the call today, and I'll pause and let them introduce themselves as we get going.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Sanford, Director of Operations here at NCW Tech Alliance.
Hello, everybody. I'm David Maybe, the Marketing Director at the Tech Alliance.
We're
Thanks for
so excited to have you join us today. We are going to talk a little bit about the 2025 Digital Access Commitments Campaign. I'm going to try an action-packed, I've done something. We'll try this again. What did I do? I zoomed in. Tech. How about this? All right, how about now? At least it happens right at the start. So we have an action-packed hour for you today. We're going to be talking through the NCW Digital Access Commitments campaign and telling you a little bit about the coalition that is behind this campaign. We'll give you some context about why this matters and the regional need today, as well as what to expect for the commitments campaign, the application process, tell you a little bit about some of the highlights from last year as a reference point and kind of what we're expecting or what we're looking for this year. We'll give you information about how to apply for a microgrant should you need a little bit of funding to support your commitment. And then a little bit about the recognition that we're planning for October 8th in Moses Lake for our regional celebration of all of the commitment makers. At the end of this call, we'll have some time for Q&A. We'll share with you some of the frequently asked questions that we've been getting up to this point. And you'll have an opportunity to ask questions as well. So if you're just joining us, if you're joining us live, welcome. If you're watching the recording, we are also super excited to have you as part of this journey this year. So let's get started. To introduce first NCW Tech Alliance, the regional nonprofit where Sarah and Dave and I work is 26 years old in North Central Washington. And we were actually formed with a digital access mission. We were formed as a business coalition to bring broadband connectivity to communities here in Central Washington. And this is still our mission. 26 years later, we're working to connect people and technology. We have programs across entrepreneurship and STEM education, workforce development, and technology adoption, where digital literacy and even some of the advanced technology programs work. We are passionate about making sure that people have the resources that they need to really benefit from technology. And we offer high quality programs that inspire, empower, and connect our community. Of course, we don't do this by ourselves. We have incredible partners who help support this work. And the NCW Digital Access Coalition is a really great body that really embodies that partnership and that collaboration. We had an opportunity to work alongside the broadband action teams in Okanogan County and with the Colville Confederated Tribes, and then the broadband action team that was in Chelan County. And we were able to put together some regional digital access plans for each county that helped to identify where there were some really needed supports and identify who has access to broadband and internet connectivity, who doesn't, where there's some big gaps in computer access. You maybe have a device issue, or where maybe it's the skills and the digital access issues are actually requiring programs and learning and support for acquiring the skills that you need to really benefit from technology. And we put those into a comprehensive regional plan. We had support from partners, and these are just some of the partners that were a part of that work. Our steering team for that digital access network, I see some of our partners actually on the call today. But this is just folks that have put their hand up and said, we want to be a part of that. We want to be able to support that digital access work. We're willing to bring our resources and collaborate with others. And so the folks that you see on the screen today have just volunteered to be in that leadership space. And if that's something that's of interest to you, follow up with us. There's definitely a seat at the table for you. What we are working on together is really four things. We want to see enhanced services and enhanced access to those digital devices, connectivity, and skills, especially for our underserved populations. And we have individuals that we know are at greater risk, our senior citizens, our veterans, communities that are rural, communities of color, communities with language barriers. These are there's an intersection of the barriers that they're facing and their digital skills gaps or their technology gaps. And so we really want to prioritize working together to make sure that the resources that we have stretch to those communities. We're working on increasing visibility. I see some of our partners here that are on the call today, actually, who are doing incredible work in this digital access space. And our collaboration gives an opportunity for others to learn about and hear about what you're doing and come alongside you and really amplify that impact. And that is a very positive opportunity for our region to know more about the work that you're doing. The knowledge sharing and collaboration working across rural counties. And when we figured out something that works, being able to quickly share that and spread the resources and the strategies for reaching some of the communities that we know have a lot in common, even though they might be a 3-hour drive apart. And so working together, we were able to share those good ideas. And then, of course, we're also improving access to funding, and we'll have an opportunity to tell you a little bit about some of that today. So I mentioned we had done the regional community impact report. The numbers that came back to us were really staggering. It appears that as many as 1 in 4 individuals living in North Central Washington is experiencing some kind of a barrier. Either they don't have access to the internet, they couldn't get it if they wanted it, it's not available in their region. They don't have a device in their home. Maybe they have a device, but that device is not going to do everything that they need it to do for work or school or telehealth visits. So a device that's working for those purposes, if that's what they need. Or they're missing skills, and those essential skills could be process specific or they could be more general. You're just not comfortable using computers, or you maybe don't know how to navigate that portal for your telehealth services. These combination of barriers really limit access to workforce and employment opportunities, to education, to healthcare, and to information and civic life. And so we are working again this September. This will be the second year we're doing this. It'll be the 3rd digital access month in September, and it'll be the 2nd annual commitments campaign. But we're saying if you live here, you are a part of the solution. You have these skills and you're willing to share what you know with others, or you're willing to share resources that you have with others to help them to feel empowered with technology access and digital resource access. You can make a commitment and you can be a part of this. There is no commitment that is too small or too big. If we're going to try to reach 1 in 4 people, that's over 750,000 individuals across North Central Washington who have this need. In 2024, we launched the very first commitments campaign, and we really weren't sure what we were going to see. I think the goal last year was 25 commitment makers across the service area. and really making sure that we were representative of private sector and public sector and community-based organizations and municipalities. We were blown away when there were 52 organizations who made commitments to digital access in the month of September. The commitments, if you're interested in seeing all of them, are on a virtual wall, and the QR code on the slide here would take you to that link. It's a lot of fun and it's really empowering to see the network of partners and all of their commitments on that digital wall. We had 9 municipalities make proclamations, and their mayors and their city councils heard comments and considered thoughts about how they could make commitments to improve digital access for their municipalities. Really incredible civic leadership, and it really sets the bar for the communities that are responding and reading and seeing that this is something that's on their radar and that they're working to receive resources to address. I have just a couple of them on the screen, and this text is likely too small for you to see. But what I want you to notice is in our 2024 commitments, there were school districts like the Quincy School District that committed to making sure every building had access to Wi-Fi for students and that every student had devices and they were learning skills that they will have for the rest of their lives as part of their basic education. Big Bend Community College made a commitment. The Chelan County PUD made a commitment to really work on fiber and making sure that every resident in Chelan County has fiber to their driveway as a priority. Our Grant County PUD, which I have not pulled up, has also made that commitment. Confluence Health made a commitment, and Confluence Health is working on access to digital resources to improve health outcomes. We have organizations like FIRE in OMAC, and they are a youth-facing organization that worked on digital safety and some programs to make sure that youth have access to resources that help them to be safe when they are online. And Sin Fronteras is an organization that is based out of Quincy and George. They were working on workshops for migrant workers to be able to provide resources and weather conditions, digital access to tools that will help improve those worker conditions. These were just a handful, a snapshot of their regional commitments that were made. And what you hopefully see are community-based organizations, public sector, private sector, education system. Anyone can be a part of this solution. And we're inviting you to make that commitment and be a part of this campaign this year as well. In total, the 2024 digital access commitments, we saw more than 50,000 individuals impacted by these commitments. We also had a microgrant opportunity, thanks to generous sponsorship from Thriving Together NCW. And I'll tell you more about that here in a second because they are once again sponsoring microgrants for organizations that are interested in making digital access commitments who maybe need a little bit of funding to be able to pull off their pledge or their commitment. Last year, we were able to award 22 microgrants across the region and distributed a total of $100,000. We saw those commitments in particular expand access to workshops and training, really looking at how to build innovative tools to help empower communities with digital access and digital resources. There's a couple here from 2 of the community-based organizations on the screen, the Brave Warrior Project and Safe Family for Children, both who used their microgrants to be able to create some resources for the communities that they serve, and did some workshops to be able to help families access new resources. So it's mission aligned for these community-based organizations and improving digital access at the same time. That's win-win. That's awesome. We saw barriers addressed with language access, expanded resources for individuals with disabilities, for individuals in rural communities, and for low-income households. And so this is the kind of thing that we're looking for again this year in our commitments. I'm gonna say we want to do even better this year. Our goal in 2025 is to match that 50,000, if not exceed it, We have 750,000 individuals in need. So we really have our work cut out for us. We need to do more. And it's a tough year, but we think we can make this happen. We are opening this campaign to anyone in Chelan, Douglas, Grant, Okanagan, Adams, and Ferry counties. And you can now apply, and it will, the application to submit a commitment is open now. We are also opening up a microgrant. The microgrant, if you, the commitment campaign window is open from now until the end of September. And we're asking folks to go in and make their pledge or make their commitment and submit it. So that one will stay open. If you need some funding, we want to be able to get that funding out to you and get through contracting and have that in place before Digital Access Month starts in September, so that you can plan if you're going to do a workshop, you're going to do a training. You know you're going to get those funds, and you have some time to be able to plan those activities. So the application will open today for the microgrant, and then it will close on July 31st. And we'll notify individuals that are receiving that award in August. And that way you have the funding to be able to do, if it's an event or a training or a resource that you're trying to put together in September. And then in October, on October 8th, we will be celebrating our Tech Trailblazers. Last year, this event was spectacular. This year is going to be even better. This year's event will be in Moses Lake. So a little bit more about the details of the commitment first. The commitments can be anybody, any local government, business, school, nonprofit, or other community groups. You're invited to submit a pledge to how you will support digital access for North Central Washington communities. It can be a very specific group in the community as well, but in 2025. And you might find value in seeing some of the examples, like staff going to a training or hosting a training, expanding digital literacy, providing digital navigation, expanding access to public devices. I know we had a few public spaces that got new kiosks or new public Wi-Fi stations that they added to their businesses as part of this commitments campaign. Things that are bilingual help session or technology workshop. I know one of the health district projects last year was creating bilingual resources and being able to help people understand how to use an app. These are really great examples. So expanding access with a specific population or individuals who have specific barriers, these are great commitments. And the commitments portal is open now. You can use the QR code on the slide, and it will take you to a form that will ask you to tell us a little bit about your organization and your commitment. It will also ask for a release, because these commitments, as they come in, they go live on the digital wall for 2025. And then they will be posted in a very physical way on the gallery walls at the Tech and Trailblazers event on October 8th, the Tech Trailblazers event. If you are interested in applying for a microgrant, your organization can submit an application in July for up to $4,000 per organization for your commitment. Some of the examples for the microgrants, things like those mobile tech centers, like a computer kiosk that was going to be open to the public to be able to use it, workshops for families, community trainings that included device skilling and maybe a device giveaway were a couple of the microgrants. So these microgrants are meant to pair with your commitment. You can submit a commitment but without applying for a microgrant. But if you apply for a microgrant, you are going to be asked about what your commitment is. So you have to submit a commitment for that goes with those microgrants. The application, you can use the QR code here or the short link on the screen, and it is open today. This is the first day. It's again going to be a jot form. Now, if you're filling out both and you feel like, man, this is a little bit redundant, know that that's because there are people who are submitting commitments who are not submitting microgrants. And the information in the microgrants will help us to determine the eligibility of the request. So there is some crossover, and please do your best to be patient with us and provide as detailed information as you can so that we get that information to the team to be able to really understand what you're hoping to receive funding for. All right. Once we have your commitment, if you've submitted a digital access commitment or you've submitted a microgrant, all of the commitments are going to be showcased online at the NCW Tech Help website. You can pay attention to who is submitting those commitments. We also do some shout outs on social media and showcase the network of partners who are making these digital access commitments. We will also be posting or printing out, rather, in a really big format, the commitments that are made and be posting those as a gallery. So there's a reception on October 8th in Moses Lake. And it will be a networking event. It'll be a part of the Cybersecurity Summit this year as well, but we'll have the Tech Trailblazers reception and we'll recognize all of the commitment makers. So this will be one to mark your calendars and be able to come and be in person. A lot of times we're in Zoom or in virtual spaces where we're gathering. We're going to be gathering in person on October 8th to celebrate. Now, if you were a microgrant recipient, that is going to be a required event. We're going to make sure that all of the commitment makers who received funding for their microgrant are able to see each other, we're able to celebrate, we're able to network and connect and hear about how that went with your microgrant investment. So you'll receive an invitation to that event as part of the microgrant agreement. And then in September, we are going to be, as a digital access coalition, hosting events throughout the region. If your commitment is an event, we would love to help you promote that event. So if your commitment is we're going to be hosting some pop-ups and helping seniors with cybersecurity, we're going to be doing a computer refurbishment and sustainability drive. Whatever these events are, as part of your commitment, if you let us know that you would like help putting that on a calendar and getting some visibility, we will help amplify and share that. If you've got stories that you want to be able to get out, if you're looking for specific network connections, we'd really like to do this, but we could use some help. This is a great opportunity to be able to request those things and for all of us across the entire coalition to plan and support and connect with one another throughout September. If you need specific help and it's not listed or you're not quite sure how to ask for what you're needing, follow up with our team or follow up with the NCW Tech Help steering team. Any one of us is able to provide help and mentorship and hopefully some wayfinding to some of the tech resources that are available to help you lift your ideas and your plans. Okay. I'm going to move into, we've gotten some questions already as folks are anticipating Digital Access Month in September, the commitments campaign, and the microgrant. So I've got just a handful of questions that have come through, but I'm also putting you on notice because I'm always one of those people who it takes a while for me to type out my question and they never leave me enough time. I've got a lot of words, if you know me well. But if that's you, now is when you want to start typing your question into the chat because we will open things up for your questions as we get towards the end of these frequently asked questions. And if I ask your question, you don't have to hit send. But the first question is, what qualifies as a digital access commitment? And the answer is any commitment, any action that your organization is pledging is a digital access commitment if it creates access to devices, skills, or resources for our community that improves their access to digital technology. It could be small, it could be large, it could be a digital literacy workshop, it could be a lending library for devices as part of your normal organizational operations. It could be translating materials that help others with language barriers to know where to go or how to find resources. It could be hosting a training or sending staff to training. So there's lots of different ways that you can make a commitment to improving digital access for North Central Washington. Second question is, who's eligible to make a commitment? And any organization serving communities across this 6-county service area is eligible to make a commitment. Chelan, Douglas, Grant, Okanagan, Adams, or Ferry County, if you are an individual or an organization in these counties, you are eligible to make a commitment. It includes public, private, nonprofit, community-based organizations, local governments, small businesses, all of the above. Number 3, what's the difference between making a commitment and applying for a microgrant? And I will tell you, our team has gone back and forth about making a commitment. Is making a commitment scare you a little bit? I think some people have a little bit of a reaction or a response to that. Some of us prefer making a pledge, and that's totally okay. A commitment or a pledge is you saying, I want to do something about this. I want to improve access to digital resources for my community. So it's that commitment, it's that statement. And if you can tell us about what you're committing to, that's all that you need to do to be able to make that commitment. A microgrant is the funding part of it. So if I would love to be able to do something, but I don't have funding. I can't host a training. I can't attend that funding or that training. How would I pay for lunch? Those kinds of things. If we need just a little bit of funding to be able to make that commitment happen, that's where you'll apply for the microgrant. So there will be more commitment makers. Notice there were 52 commitment makers in 2024, and there were 22 microgrants. So the number of grants, not all of our commitment makers will be micro grant recipients. Number 4, how much funding is available through the microgrant program? And this is where I would be remiss to not have a huge shout out to Thriving Together NCW, who for a second year in a row is putting up $100,000 to support the digital access commitments and the micro grants. So we have funding to support up to 25 organizations. We can do more organizations if you don't all ask for the full $4,000. So ask for what you need. If you're going to be hosting a lunch, if you're going to be getting a device, ask for what you need. Be mindful or be generous that there are others that are also going to be asking for resources. So if everybody asks for the full amount, we have funding for 25 grants. If not everybody needs that full amount and they leave some behind, we'll fund as many of them as we can. We do want to let you know that just applying for a microgrant does not mean that you necessarily have that funding. We do want to go through the applications and make sure that we're distributing these funds and that they're reaching communities all across North Central Washington. And we do want to make sure that we're reaching communities that are supporting specific barriers and specific needs. And so we'll take all of these things into consideration as we try to make sure that we're good stewards of the funding that's been provided for this digital access commitments campaign this year. So submitting an application by July 31st does not guarantee that you'll receive funding, but we do have about $100,000 to be able to put out into the community to make this happen this year. And again, thank you to Thriving Together NCW. Number 5, what kinds of projects are a good fit for the microgrant? So microgrants are designed to be really practical, community-driven solutions. If you've got something like an event that you want to try to host in September, if you've got specific training that you want to try to send staff to, or a device or technology that would help you to be able to empower others to use that technology, these are really good kinds of applications. What's not a great application are things like a hotspot, something that has a subscription that is going to be required payments for well past the digital access commitments campaign month, and maybe well past the if you're buying devices and you're paying the subscription fees with this, it kind of extends past, and it's not necessarily a sustainable cost once that micro grant is expended. So looking for things that are not short-term subscriptions. Do I need to be a nonprofit to apply for a micro grant? No. Any organization that serves this North Central Washington region can apply. So this includes nonprofits, schools, libraries, tribal entities, public agencies, businesses. If you're not sure if your organization qualifies, send us an email. We're happy to reply back to you. But no, you don't have to be a nonprofit to receive this grant. Can we submit more than one commitment or microgrant application? This is a great question. You can submit more than one digital access commitment, especially if your organization plans to have multiple activities in September. That's great. And we'll be sure to recognize multiple commitments with multiple posts to the commitment wall and in the gallery walk. However, only one microgrant application per organization. And that just makes sure that we can reach as many organizations as possible and really get the resources out across this massive service region that we have. All right, just two more. When is the microgrant application deadline? This application is open today and it closes on July 31st. So your applications have to be submitted by the application deadline. We're not accepting applications after that July 31st deadline this year. And then what happens after I submit a commitment or apply for a micro grant? The first thing that's going to happen is when you submit your application, you're going to get a confirmation email. That'll tell you that your application has gone through. So you may not receive a response from our NCW Tech Alliance team right away, especially if you're early in submitting that micro grant application, but you'll know it went through because you'll get a confirmation email right after. We're planning to notify all of the recipients, the awardees, of the decisions to fund the microgrant application by August 11th. And then all commitment makers will know whether or not they applied for funding. We are asking if you are submitting both, and some of you are on it. We already have two commitments in. If you are completing both, please let us know if your commitment is something that is dependent on your funding, and you don't want that posted until you know you have funding. You'll indicate that as part of your application. So let us know if it's not something, if you need that funding or you can't make that commitment and you're submitting your commitment already, let us know. Otherwise, we will post those commitments as they come in from now until the end of September. They'll go live on that wall. You also have access to support as you plan out your event for the entire Digital Access Coalition. We don't meet in person again until September as a bigger coalition. But if you send a message that you need help in planning, we'll put that out to that greater network and help you to be able to find some partners to be able to make this commitment happen. And then, of course, we're all going to get together in October and celebrate all this great work. So October 8th, we'll be in Moses Lake at the Tech Trailblazers event, celebrating together. The last question is, where do I submit my commitment or apply for a micro grant? And we have on the NCW Tech Help website a landing page where all of this information will live. It's where this recording will live after today. And it is the website that's here on the screen, the QR code. If you run into trouble and you need help navigating, please give us a call in Spanish or English. We're happy to provide that wayfinding and resource. I forgot one rather important detail, and as I said the word Spanish, it came back to me. You can submit a commitment and a microgrant in Spanish or English, whichever language makes you feel most comfortable expressing your ideas and your commitment. If you are more empowered to speak your thoughts in Spanish, please know that we have the ability to receive those requests and that both the applications for the microgrant and the commitment are available in Spanish or English. So if this applies to you or this applies to folks in your network that you're going to be sharing this with, it is 100% okay to submit a commitment in Spanish. With that, these are the questions that I have for our Q&A, our pre-submitted Q&A. Do I have anybody who's on the call today who has a question that we haven't yet gotten to that you'd like us to chat through? I'm seeing some notes of appreciation in the chat and lots of great information. And if you're joining us live today, hopefully you'll share this out and we'll have lots of opportunities to celebrate together this fall.